I'm pretty sure that your right hand has been underutilized in your golf swing. I'm going to show you what it should do. The right hand is a formidable character in the golf swing. If you've played enough golf and you have hit shots where you felt like, the right hand has become too active, has closed the face over, hit the ball a long way to the left. If you've tried to quieten your right hand, really tried to leave your right hand out of it and blocked it out to the right, all of a sudden, the mystery behind right hand, right arm can start to run away with you. The right hand is directly linked how it should work with the way you place it on the golf club. If the golf club is placed in the palm of the hand, and I see this a lot, the palm of the hand, the base of the fingers, the right hand can sit a long way underneath. Compared to the golfer that sits it a little bit more into the fingertips of the right hand, it goes from being a hand at address that either looks palm down at setup, like this grip, palm down, or it becomes a grip that's palm up. A very, very big distinction between those two positions. Because what this then layers onto, and bear in mind, I'm not talking about the orientation of the left hand because that will have a major play in what the right hand does as well. But today I really want to focus on the right hand. If you head up and check out my grip series, I've done 4 or 5 videos on the grip, which will really, really open up your eyes to how important this hold is. The orientation of that hand, if the palm of the hand is looking up, you've externally rotated the forearm at address. When you have this, most golfers don't struggle when you've got the palm up at the start. Most golfers don't struggle with a golf club working and swinging inside. Most golfers will tend to see a face looking down. This really helps you with getting away from the slices, getting away from hitting the ball to the right. So I place the grip of the club in the palm of my hand, and I'm exaggerating this now. And then I start to swing the golf club and I make my usual move. You'll see that the ball will have a bias to the right. It's as cut and dried as that. If you are someone that battles a slice, just put your right hand underneath and I promise you it'll turn you into someone that's going to hit it up the left with bend pretty quickly. But what it also does is it has a big contributant of flying right elbows. And I hear that a lot at the top of my backswing. I've always had this flying right elbow. And I've always had across the line at the top. Across the line at the top, where the shaft is pointing to the right of the target, is a big player when it comes to the right hand as well. So the right hand, whilst it seems this innocuous little position, I'll just chuck it on there any old how, immediately changes the way the blade is going to start to work in takeaway, is going to start to change the way your right elbow functions at the top, which changes the way the shaft pitches at the top as well. So if the right hand is underneath, you are going to be someone that would usually be across the liner, a bit of a shut facer, and also someone that might strike it close to the heel. They are all ingredients that tie themselves in with a palm gripped right hand golfer. Because the strike, when it starts to move towards the heel, or should I say, when the ball starts to bend to the left, when the palm of the right hand is too much underneath, the golfer starts to push the club out to the right to stop the golf ball going to the left. And in doing that, you do that enough you have such a drive of the handle out to the right that before you know it, you are hitting the old Lucifer lockets, the old shanks, and it's all a bit of a, a little bit of a nightmare. So do pay particular attention to that right hand when it sits on the golf club. When you then place the grip more in the fingertips, so it's more in the fingertips at address, when we see golfers moving the club away, depending on their left hand, when the club is more in the fingertips, as you start to move the golf club away, you'd start to see more forearm rotation and have an opportunity to add more loft. And what this can do, depending on the pressures through your grip, depending how you lever the golf club away, can encourage golfers to get the club a little bit too inside and the club a little bit laid off at the top. All of a sudden though, this right arm, that for the flying right elbow crew out there, compared to the guys that have got an elbow that sits nicely under the handle, you're living in two different planets. And so you all of a sudden see from a palm grip, a backswing that looks like this, more to a fingertip grip, starts to look a little bit more like this. You will then see you might have a prevalence a bit more down to the right. Now this is just talking about how the hand on the golf club at the start is going to influence the way the club moves back and sets at the top. How the golf club releases down at the bottom, again, will be dependent on those two orientations of which side of the fence you sit on. If you are someone that sits on more of a palm grip, when you are unloading the golf club and putting pressure on the shaft, the palm of the right hand, the more the palm sits down and creates that force that I talk about in a lot of my videos, the more chance you have of making the face too strong. If you are someone that has the right hand on top a bit more, and then you create that pressure down, all of a sudden you've got more opportunity to make the face line up straight. So this pressure on the right hand, depending on where you place your grip, if the hand is too much underneath and then you place pressure down, which I talk about all the time, palm down, pressure down onto the shaft, it will make the face too strong. Grip a little bit weaker, more into the fingertips, all of a sudden that same sensation makes the face line back up. So that's where the pressure is coming from. The palm of the hand is facing down to the floor. But that's not to say, and if you've seen my videos about the pull phase and the swing phase, that's not to say that during the swing phase, when the club is loaded and then the golf club is going to swing, it means that the way my hand works from this spot will be directly dependent on whether my grip is palm up or palm down. With during the swing phase, is my swing phase going to work this way, or is my swing phase going to work this way? The hand has done exactly the same thing in both swing phases, but because it's orientated differently on the golf club, I'm going to get two very different responses. So the layering of all of the ingredients that go on to, oh, just throw your right hand on the golf club, that sets the golf club, loads it at the top, unloads it at the bottom, is crucial for you to understand, so that when you do apply a lot of the things I talk about in your golf game, you've always understood that, sure, Stuart talks about the pull and the swing and the pushing out of the handle and all of the other variables that I've talked about over these almost 500 videos. The detail, the devil is always in the detail. And so the hand position on the club at the start is there for you to understand the ramifications of what that's going to do and what the feels it's going to allow you to have or not have to make your ball go straight. So play with it. Get yourself down the range, put your right hand underneath the golf club and just hit some shots in your usual way. Then pop your right hand and put your right hand excessively over the top, almost to the point where I can't interlock my fingers. That's how over the top my right hand is. And then hit some shots. And you will very quickly realize that all of this garbage that you have been faffing around with, tucking the elbow, swinging out to the right, knees apart and all that bleep, is an absolute waste of time if the bare bones of the components that you're starting with are not to your understanding of what that will offer you. And so playing with this right hand will really give you an opportunity to start to manage how the right hand releases depending on where it is at the start. So I can now go back to having my palm underneath, clubs loading, but now I'm going to have a little bit more of a fingernails up to the sky feel. If you're tired of paying too much for premium leather golf gloves, do head over and check out my channel sponsor, GX Golf Gloves. These gloves are trusted by elite, amateurs and tour players alike. Use my code GOODCOACHING to receive 10% on your next order. And I unload the club, which has allowed me to offset the face and have a bit more neutral flight compared to the hook that I just hit before. Compared to now, more in the fingertips, right hand more on top. Now I'm going to feel like I've got a bit more fingernails to the floor when I strike this golf shot, which is a different sensation, made up because of the orientation of the grip at the start. So, understand that where you place the hand at address will dictate the forearm rotation, the orientation of the elbow, the orientation of the face, the orientation of the shaft, the orientation of the release, the pressures, to name but a few. And then you get someone saying, but when I feel that shit, it don't work. So this is just one microcosm of the beauty of the golf swing. So today, hopefully you've learned a little bit about right hand position at address and the release and how it operates in the golf swing. I think you'll find, my friends, that's good coaching.